Hello. What?
Anyways, we have some firearms. I can't take Mason seriously. Hello. Can you imagine him as a reporter? Hello. Okay, we digress.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. The weather's great outside.
Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey.
The Reticle Up podcast is produced in partnership with AmericanFirearms.org. American Firearms' mission is to recommend what works. We believe everyone deserves access to unbiased, helpful information about firearms, and our buying guides, product reviews, and learning resources are designed to help real people find the stuff that will work best for them. Check us out at www.americanfirearms.org. All right, gang. Welcome back to the Reticle Up podcast. I'm here with Kaylee and Mason Lane. We are actually on site in between the back-to-back nationals. So we just shot open and limited. We're heading into production PCC. Of course, I'm the PCCer. But guys, thanks for joining me here on this podcast.
Happy to be here.
Well, I want to talk about all the things of actually how you guys met and then how you guys tag team on shooting and competing. So I don't know where you guys want to start, maybe, of how your journeys got into shooting and then how you guys met.
Yeah, that works.
You're first.
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay, well, obviously Mason and I met. I think the whole first winter, because we met in November, so the whole first winter I just kind of like tag teamed to the range, didn't really do anything. I loaded bags like poorly.
You didn't have the Uplula?
Slowly.
No,
The
he
thumb
was
string?
anti-Uplula at
Oh,
that
hell
time.
no.
Yeah, it was pre-broken wrist, so he was anti-Uplula.
Pre-broken wrist.
So
That's
it was
what it
like,
took?
I would break my thumbs and load like one mag to his like 6.
Oh my gosh.
And then I think it was like March or April, I determined I was like, this is kind of boring to watch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had a conversation along the lines of like, just so you know, this sport is way not entertaining.
Yeah.
It's spectating,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna do it, you should probably just do it.
So I remember my first match was a Steel Challenge match in PCC.
Okay.
I think I practiced for like 2 weeks. I think I did some, at that time I didn't do any reloads or anything. It was just like, okay, I'll shoot a little bit. And then I did my first match, and then Phil was there. Phil Strader was there. So he was like, oh, come to this class fire match tomorrow. So I
For Steel Challenge or USPSA?
for USPSA
Okay.
the next day by his house. So I was like, okay, we'll like walk on and whatever. So I practiced reloads that night, and then I got class again the next day.
Of course.
And so that was super fun. And then
Where'd you start?
I think I was C class for PCC.
Cool.
Yep. So I did that, and then I think a couple months later, I actually was like, no, I want to do actual pistol.
Real pistol. Yeah.
I believe you described PCC as like eating dessert for dinner. It's really good, but you can't eat it for every meal.
Well, that's it. Exactly. It was like the goal was like at that point it was like, well, you can hit any shot. It's just like you got to go faster. And I was like, I want to actually like do something besides just like go faster.
It's fun for racing, and I think learning the dot and like just having both eyes open and stuff. But I missed pistol, like going back to open.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And carry optics. I shot that a
100%.
couple weeks.
It's
It's
just
fun.
I think there's a lot more going on with pistol. So
Yeah.
I was I like doing that, and I think I switched to CO like a week before my first major. It was like my first major match. I think was Area 7.
Okay.
And Mason wasn't there, so it was kind of scary. And I was like,
good for you though.
yeah, no,
Still
it was
went.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, Mason's mom came and supported me. That was kind of my start.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know you started real early.
Yeah, so I started when I was in scouting, and so I took scouting really seriously, and I wanted to be the best at scouting. That's kind of like inverse the purpose of it. I just wanted to take it seriously and basically progress through it as fast as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of got done with that when I was like 12 or 13 or so, and fell into shooting. So, me and all my peers that were in scouting, all like airsoft and Call of Duty, that kind of thing. All of our folks were, outdoorsmen, law enforcement, etc.
Yep.
And so we started a youth group that was focused around shooting, and I similarly took that like a lot more seriously than my peers did.
Huh.
So I started competing and training around 2012 to 2013 or so.
Was that for scouting? Was it 10-22s? Like, what did y'all use?
We did some shooting, but it was like no semi-autos or anything. Like I got all the badges and stuff, like, but it was all like single shot, precision, small bore rifle, and like some trap and stuff like that. The program we started was there was a lot of money for the program and Scholastic Steel Challenge back when that was the thing.
Yep.
And there was a new program called SASP. Well, it's not now, I guess, but I think it's called SASP.
Yep.
Which is still a program that runs where there's a collegiate Steel Challenge deal.
That's how I got into shooting. Was that with my college, but it was way later.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was more or less how I got into it, and I just was lucky to have a lot of good mentors, along the way that helped me take it as seriously as I wanted to, made it easy for me to be involved at whatever level I wanted to.
Very cool.
Yep.
So shooting was like a passion. I mean, you turned into taking it very seriously. I feel like your whole life. When did that first like world champion, national champion, all that stuff like come into play where you were training? That was the goal. Did it take you a while to kind of like grow up into that?
To start to get to be serious about the training?
Yeah.
I mean, I right from the onset, I liked it a lot. Like when I was still in the scouting aspect of it with all my peers, I wanted to be better than all of them, just for bragging rights. And so I was lucky to get sponsors early on that pretty much made it so I could train as much as I wanted to. And at that point, it was kind of just like justifying that decision retroactively. Honestly, like, oh my God, these guys put a lot of trust in me. I should take it really seriously and try to get better at it. And I always was pretty good about setting goals that were far enough out that it felt like I was really accomplishing something when I did it. So it was still like you had that reward of winning when you did it, but it was not so far that you never got that carrot.
Yeah.
So I just kind of pursued the classification system, and then matches, then just checking off people in the area that you wanted to beat or whatever. But, yeah, it's always been the same level of competitive drive and pretty much the same level of training commitment, just various levels of ability to accomplish goals.
Yeah.
And what the goals are.
That's awesome. So, okay, how do you both train at home, dry fire at home? Like, how do you guys play off of each other on like coaching or seeing what the other one, can work on? How does that work at home?
I would say so. Dry fire, we pretty well leave each other alone, except for every once in a while we'll do like some sort of dumb game, like drop, like stare at each other and do draws or something, something stupid like reload, like reloads. Yeah, no look reloads and stuff like that. But we essentially, leave each other alone unless it's like to call something out or say, hey, I'm doing something cool right here. You should try it. In training, it's, we'll we do similar drills a lot of the time. Like, it'll kind of be like, I'll set something up, we'll both do it. Then he'll set something up, we'll both do it. And again, it's, hey, you're not being honest right there, or that looked weird, you should try this, or, something like that. It's not, we're not really like on each other constantly, but it's more like, hey, stay honest or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the biggest value add in both directions, there's not pretty much a time, with only a couple exceptions, there's not really any time where we're on a range where we're not training. When we're training, we're not together.
Yeah.
It's probably been count on using both hands. The last year and a half where either of us have trained individually.
Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah, well, it's great, and it makes it so
accountability.
For both, we talk about it all the time. Like, Kay's a farrier; she shoots horses for a living, so we spend a lot of time in the truck driving around, just like shooting the shit about shooting in general.
Yep.
So we have a really good reference on, constantly doing a stop, start, continue sort of discussion on where we are and where we're going individually in our training, and we try to be honest about keeping each other honest about, like, it's easy to get into chase your tail in training, or like work on stuff that's not important, or that's not productive. And so we both help keep each other oriented really well. But for the most part, like especially at matches, and definitely to some extent in training, we pretty much just ignore each other and stay out of each other's way.
Honestly,
and unless there's something to chip in, like actually,
yeah.
I think that's valuable though. Like that separating couples is like in my class is actually really helpful because they learn different learning or different things, and it helps.
It's honestly better to, when we're on the range, we just see it as like, it's not like we're a couple on the range. We're training partners and essentially, just giving feedback where you need to.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things about training together is that we don't get into the same like feedback loops, like, because obviously it's really easy when you're training to train on what you're good at and not necessarily what what you need to get
be
better.
working on.
Yeah. So like being able to do what he set up and then saying like, you know, I'll practice that and then say I catch him. Like he loves shooting distance, and it's like, okay, do you really need to be shooting 30-yard partials right now? Like we're about to go to a match or something, you know. So I think that's one thing is really good, just actually trying what somebody else is working on.
Yeah. Okay, so at nationals this past week was really interesting to me. So you were on, of course, Super Squad for limited, and you're on the ladies Super Squad. But there were times, and I have pictures, but there were times where I caught you coming over and you guys were talking and discussing and pointing at different stages. Can you give like insight of what you're talking about, what questions, like literally what were you saying?
In a lot of cases, it's just basic strategy. So, like on stages, there's a lot of cases where I have a reference of sort of where we both have a reference of where we are ability wise in relation to each other. So Kay was in the squad ahead of me, so she kind of she was for the brunt of the experimentation. Whereas I'd come over and say, hey, like what you guys do on this wasn't reasonable. Let's play. She could pretty much tell me straight up, like, yeah, I did this. I think you should do this, and I can obviously take it with a grain of salt and make my own decision. But that helps a lot. In a lot of cases too, having a corner coach just be like, hey, I just jacked up this part of the stage and did that or whatever. And that's like again, we spend a lot of time training with each other, so we're able to say, use this cue, like remind yourself of this, or whatever the case may be. Like the big thing what Kay would always say to me is just hit the seal the first time. Use the right amount of confirmation. There's no faster way to get through it than to hit it. Just hit it the first time, even if it feels like it's taken a long time for you.
Right, for sure.
So that's something that's easy to know, but not easy to remember. Like simple stuff like that, makes it easier to keep it together.
I think it makes it a little bit harder when we're on different squads to like say the things that you think the person needs to hear, because honestly, it's like I've shot so many matches with him. I know a lot of the things to like cue him up to like do well, and the same thing to me, like, hey, treat that target seriously, or do this or that, or or just grip the gun, or like those little keywords that you don't think about when you're just hyping yourself up on stage. So it's definitely a little bit harder, I think, when we're on separate squads, but still, like, there's little things you can kind of say that, hey, I've watched, every person on my squad screw that thing up. Like, you should do this, because I mean, there's high level shooters, but people are going to screw that up, or just little things that even just by shooting those stages ahead of time helps.
For the most part, we trade like inside information about the specifics of the stages or matches. It's usually not that much about like the technique adaptations we're going to make on the fly during the matches, because there's a limit to how much of that you can do. You're kind of the haze in the barn, as we like to say. By the time you show it's the match, your performance is going to be pretty much whatever it is.
What was it like for each of you to shoot on the Super Squads? Like, what was that experience like? Because a lot of people don't get to do that in their lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's pretty helpful, because especially for me for CO, because a lot of the people I was able to kind of say, like, these people are in my skill level, and I can easily see, okay, they pulled that off, and that makes it way easier for me to determine like swinger sequences or something like that. Like, oh, that didn't work out, or that did work out. This match I didn't shoot as well because it's iron sights.
It's not fun on this one.
Iron sights is not fun, period, for me. So that was like a little bit harder, but overall, I think the group is really, really supportive, and they want you to do well, and that's I really appreciate that.
Had you shot on a lady Super Squad before?
I had it CO.
Okay.
And I feel like I did at some point last year. I can't remember though.
Yeah, you done it a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
I haven't. I thought it was really neat when I came over to take y'all's pictures, is that everyone clapped after everyone shot, no matter what.
Yep.
I was like, this is the most supportive squad out there on the whole entire range. That is amazing.
Yeah. No, everyone's definitely really, really supportive, and everyone's willing to hash out plans, and that's really, really nice. I think the group's awesome. I think that's one thing that's definitely a little bit different from when I shoot with, like, say, Mason and his friends. They're such a higher skill level. Like, they're definitely just as supportive, and they'll hash out plans, but to figure out stage plans with them is actually almost harder. Like, so they'll be like, oh yeah, I think you should do that, or oh, I think you should pull that off, but I don't know if I don't see somebody. Like, it's just that confirmation, which I know is like I shouldn't need that confirmation,
No,
but
that
it
makes
definitely
sense.
helps, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone that's like, you just think about it in terms of basic math.
Yeah.
If you're even say a master, you're only 85% consistent.
Right.
What you like to do. So
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not always going to be able to know 100% what's going to go on. The
Yeah.
less reliable the information is, the farther down the skill curve you go.
Yeah.
When it comes to comparing yourself directly against your peers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is nice for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be there one day.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
What would you put the super squad?
Yeah. Obviously, it's one of the only situations where you're guaranteed to be with people that are peers of a similar skill level as you. So that aspect is definitely there. It gives you pretty good access to pretty good information as far as how to time out any kind of an activator sequence or make basic technique suggestions. For me, I've become less and less dependent on other people's performance to judge what I want to do. Like, I pretty much decide what my plan is going to be with a couple modifiers or contingencies based on how I'm feeling. And I try to not let other people's decision making affect that at all. Just because I found, in the past, I've taken the mentality, like, if I just do the same plan as the guys that I want to beat, then it'll just come down to who's the better shooter.
Right.
Which is, like, that's a totally really commendable and fair, attitude to take up, but at the same time, you have to do whatever's most comfortable to do.
How many super squads have you been on?
I've been, I could be wrong on this because I don't have notes or anything, but I think with one exception, I've been on the super squad at every match I've shot since 2017.
Wow. So did you have the pressure in 2017 or whenever you first got on the super squad versus now where you feel a little bit more comfortable because you're not?
The pressure doesn't go away.
Okay.
It's just your ability to handle it does.
Yeah.
Definitely in 2017, the first time I was on there, it was like kind of eyes wide open. Like, I was just coming in with a fresh look, just to basically learn as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from that first experience. In 2017, I shot the first time on Carry Optics Super Squad, which was very early in the year. They put nationals in Optics Nationals in March that year. And I learned a lot, because I couldn't believe, like, how many, it's going to sound bad, but how many mistakes the top guys made during the course of a match. And I was left with this impression that I had to shoot outside of my ability, or had to put together some kind of a perfect match to get the result I wanted. And there was times during that match when I was leading. And I didn't realize at the time. I looked back and I was leading this match at one point. And then later that same year, after shooting the production nationals, I realized all I have to do is shoot, like 85 or 90% of my ability. I can lay back a lot and get the result I want. I ended up jumping from something like 85 to 90% and around like 30th place to like a 6% jump and up to third at production nationals that year. So I mean, I learned a lot just through that one experience. Yeah. Just from seeing how other top performers kind of go.
So many people in our sport don't understand consistency wins versus like stage wins. I looked at Aaron's scores, like he had two really tough stages where like 36, 46, whatever position. He only had 2 stage wins out of 20 stages and he won the match.
Yep.
So I think that's what people don't realize is consistency over all of that.
Yeah, and that's definitely, it comes down to sort of, there's some level of stylistic difference that comes down to crowd when you look at a cross section of a super squad too. Like there's some guys that are going to win a lot of stages. They're going to they'll consistently try to perform outside of their ability by a matter of 10 or 15%, and end up with stages where they collect 20% worth of points, and others where they drop down to the 80s or so. And sometimes that shakes out, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, for the most part, it's definitely valuable to be consistent.
Yeah. So okay, you both have shot IPSC, USPSA. What do you prefer?
Ooh. I would say IPSC only for the fact. Not US IPSC, but like overseas IPSC. It's awesome, honestly. The amount of stages that they get you through in a day, honestly, just probably due to the 3-2-1 format.
Walk me through that. Never shot IPSC. I'm shooting my first one in January in Florida. That thing.
Yes.
I'll be there.
So we've gone. Mason's gone 3 times. I've gone twice to the Czech Republic to shoot. The same group, the Extreme group, puts on a match. The Extreme Euro Open, Czech Republic. They do 30 stages, 3 days, half-day formats. The first time we shot it, they had children. It's so awesome. Literally, children are facing your targets. Like they have little safety vests on. Like
labor is cheap over there.
Oh my god, it was cracking me up so much. Like there's like a little girl that's like 6 years old, just pacing away, and they're all smoking cigarettes. And it's incredible.
That's not odd.
It's incredible.
It's disconcerting.
I would.
Okay, that's something I should prepare for. If I see it, I'll be like, okay, that's normal.
Yeah. So that was really, really cool. And we literally got to just sit in a chair and watch the kids pace. You got to watch the stage ahead to see what was going on because of that 5-minute walkthrough thing, or 4 minutes, or whatever it was. I thought that was really cool. And I think the bigger part was that, like, the 32 round stages, like, in the US, we always like to say, like, oh, if it's like a speed shoot, it's a speed shoot. Like, we don't put effort in. We don't put walls in. We don't put, if it's a 12 round stage, why are we going to put all this effort into it? Yep. Total opposite. There's the same amount of effort put into a 12 round stage, a 15 round stage, 20 round stage, or a 32 round stage. There could be 20 walls out there for a 12 round stage. And honestly, a 32 round stage could be a minute and a half long.
Holy cow. That's kind of fun, though.
With moving targets, steel, everything.
Why are there still all different colors? That's just kind of normal.
Well, they do that. It makes more sense because it's white is snowshoe steel, so blue is shoot steel, or whatever. It all depends on the match. Like, sometimes they'll shoot the white sides of the target, and
it's not confusing.
Okay. So I think that was really cool. Everyone talks about wanting to do the, like, have like staff reset just so that they can sit on their butts. And that's not the true purpose, I think. Like, at the end of the day, if you're only going to get through 6 stages, then why would you have the staff reset? The staff reset is so that you can get through 10 stages in a half day if you're going to do that.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say too. Is there's that, but it's also, this last year we shot the match, there was only staff reset on only the larger stages, and they only basically had them setting up with the moving targets. And they were still able to move, 10 squads or whatever through 10 stages in a half a day. So it's become about the efficiency of how they systematize the stages, and having the just the number of reset that's required by having smaller stages is way different. So I obviously like that a lot. They're way more formalized in terms of how they go about the reset process. A lot of the times in the US, right, you'll go down range and you're like, you're going to patch one target, or you're like, hey, buddies, let's go team patch one target just because I already walked all the way down here.
Right.
You don't get any of that over there at all.
Yeah.
The other, like she said too, the other thing is the economy of effort in the US is like directly related to how many rounds of stages.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be lucky to get anything other than some targets in a shooting box.
Right.
For America. That's just not how it works there. Luke, one of the guys we're staying here with at the match, when he shot the Pan Am a couple weeks ago, he said, I had this impression, like, all the short courses were going to be like really speedy and boring. And it's like, it's not. It's the lack of rounds applied to the stage, just the contrivance to lower the hit factor in most cases. It's not like it's a faster paced stage or it's less shooting.
Right.
And so you get just as much stage out of 12 or 13 rounds.
That's kind of cool, though.
If not more.
Because then at the top with the speed shoots that we have, the percentage is like 0.01, 0.05.
Right. The scores are compressed. There's no separation there.
The factors are way up here versus there. By having essentially just cutting out targets on a 32 round course, like that style, you then have a 2-factor or a 3-factor where people actually have to aim to get points.
Think about this: the limited nationals we just shot, Scott Brown finished on a speed shoot. We were standing in a box, and you had a couple steals, a static paper, a swinger, and a partial in that order. And it was like a 3.5 second stage, and he had to blow the curve on that stage by a matter of like 20% to win, and he almost did it. But if you took that stage and applied it over 2 or 3 shooting positions, think about how much more separation, how much more skill is required to apply to blow the curve in that same
That's
stage.
why the old classifiers are so blown out too, though.
Yes.
So
the higher the factors, the more the scores are going to compress. It's just kind of how the math is.
Yeah. Opening a can of worms, though, because we kind of talked about it a little bit. What do you guys think of the USPSA like staff reset at some of the sectionals and area matches? Pros, cons.
It's awesome that we're able to do it. We haven't actually attended any of those yet, so I mean, I can't speak too much on what the experience is like. I think it's a great thing, but like Kay said, if we were doing staff reset, just because it sounds like an attractive idea on paper, I think it's a little bit misguided. This should be done so that it's actually more efficient, so that it's systematized, and you're able to get through more stages.
Then, you could fit more people into the match or fit more stages into that.
Yeah. So how do you guys prepare for the big shoots, whether it's IPSC or USPSA or even like nationals right now? What do you do gearing up? What changes?
You're first.
I would say
Kay's always first. Let's just go with that.
First.
I would say honestly, in general, shoot more. I would say the the bigger thing that changes is that we'll do more like dynamic shooting, not necessarily just drills, more scenarios, more. I just would say it's not like stand and shoot drills or just like a out of the book drill. It's going to be like we set up some paper, we set up no shoots, we maybe set up something that we think is going to like, okay, that match looks like it has a lot of partials. Set some of that up. Okay, it's got a lot of ports. Let's set that up. Not necessarily trying to set up the stage, but set up more stuff where we're working on visualization and then execution.
To understand the difference, you kind of have to understand like what we do like during the regular season, right? Like in the regular season, like we'll structure a live fire session, for example, like around probably 3 drills and try to compartmentalize like 3 different sets of skills. So you do one compartment of sort of like pure fundamentals, where you're doing like doubles or crack accuracy, or maybe something that's slightly more complicated that stresses all you're focusing on is your grip and your vision with maybe some small distractive element to make it harder. And then you'll do like sort of execution training where you're doing the exact same thing that you're talking about, but you'll do more of when you get closer to match. Definitely the volume of training increased a lot. Like you're not one, like we both shoot. In the last couple of nationals I've shot essentially every day for up to 2 or 3 weeks before the match, just because you get more comfortable, just shooting when you're able to do it all the time.
You guys just walk out your backyard.
Yeah, we have a range on our property that's
so awesome.
Just a hop, skip, and jump away.
Yeah,
it is awesome.
I mean, that's convenient for training for sure. Cool. So what's the pressure like right now? So now that you're coming off this national and not there?
I'll take this one first. Production was the first division that I sunk all my energy into. I shot production exclusively, clean through, and for the first 3 or 4 years of my shooting career. So my ego has historically been way more tied up in production than the other division, and I've wanted to excel in that one more than any other. But it's the participation in prod has kind of dwindled off more and more over time, to the point where I don't think I've shot production in the U.S. like 10-round production since production nationals last year.
Oh wow!
So I mean, to me, it's the same as any other large level match. I'm going because I want to win. I'm like prepared as I've ever been to do it. But it's not any different than any other match. It's to me until the inevitability of an outcome is like right around the corner. The pressure isn't really a crazy big factor. It's just being very focused and trying to do the right thing.
Do you think his mental game is a lot better than yours right now? Like, and mine probably. He's just dialed in.
Overall, I think his mental game is way more ironed out than mine. Because I find points where I'm like, oh yeah, my mental game is actually squared away. Like I actually felt like I shot CO so much more. Like CO nationals when I was shooting more comfortably, more like at home, like everything, and then I shoot limited and it's all stressed out. Like can't,
hard.
So I think that for me, I mean, pressure is what you bring, but it is so hard not to bring it. It's,
I think the biggest difference between if you're looking at someone who's like A class or master class and looking at where I'm at now, I think one of the bigger differences is like you understand the visualization aspect, like how to visualize like what all the important stuff is to put in there. But then, like you're saying, it's like how to manage stress and manage like everything you think and feel and do during the match to make it so that you just actually follow it.
I think it's different though, because like you said, you shoot so many matches together. It's very rare that you shoot separately, and I still think that is like your team, your support person. I mean, same with any other duo that I can think out there. Like that's a big change. A big match.
Yeah, it definitely is.
You're like in my world by yourself. We know everyone, but it is still different.
It is different. Like I appreciate that. It's just like it's good to have someone that you can like be with on the spot, which is like nice. It's like, if we shoot together or whatever, like I know that I would at least have somebody to like bounce ideas off. But it is, and there's like always in the back of your mind, like you're like, I wonder how he did on this day.
How was that factor?
So that's kind of like different, but I don't know. It's just one of those things.
One of the biggest things I think you figured out recently in terms of mental game we've talked about is you have to have a good time while you're doing it.
Oh yeah, no, that actually was a big change for me in CO, which I figured out was I was like, joking around with the girls and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm actually shooting quite well. And into day 3, I'm looking at scores and if I do this or that, this is going to get me there. And all of a sudden, the first 2 stages, I just like I didn't crash and burn, but I did not shoot to my potential at all.
So looking at scores tripped you out into putting pressure on what you could do.
I think well, I had been looking at scores the whole time, but it was like the final day.
Yeah.
And I think it was to the point where I was like, oh, I need to dig in on my visualization, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. And I just took myself out of having fun. And then
like, this is working. I should do it way different.
I should do it.
Yeah, 100%. So then I realized after those 2 stages, I was like, all right, I need to, obviously I still need to go through the visualization, but I need to okay, run through it twice, make jokes or whatever.
Right.
And then go back to it and kind of make sure I'm still having fun. And it definitely pulled me back out of that. And then I shot so much better through the rest of it.
Okay, good.
Almost every time I saw you, or this national, the last nationals, you and Jess were doing the wide.
Oh my god, the whole time. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I gotta fit through this wall section. Flexing on each other. Just messing around.
It's a good way to instantly put me in a good
Yeah.
Right. I felt like I was having fun once everything was coming together and working, and I'm coming off excited. Nobody's excited. I am that cheerleader on the squads, I think, though, too, because I'm just yeah, we're shooting shit. Yeah. And everyone's just kind of staring. I'm like, that was fun, guys. I'm like, that was supposed to be fun.
I know,
Forget
exactly.
To have fun.
And I think that's a big thing is that, you put so much pressure on yourself and you want to do well because it's something you work so hard at.
Yep.
And then it's to then show up and not shoot to your potential.
So annoying. It's so annoying.
It can put you into a spiral so fast.
Yeah.
And it's okay, remember, I do this for fun.
Right.
I'm not making any money at it. Let's do it for fun. Yep. And that reminder definitely helps.
Good. So, okay, we all three actually run those Instago cameras on our head. Do you talk to yourself when you shoot?
No.
Never.
Mason yells at me. I used to.
Yeah.
I used to talk to myself, and he got very mad and said, "You do not talk to yourself."
We had early on. You used
I used to.
Oh dear. Oh no.
It's not even bad words.
Okay, Ned Flanders. You're busy creating a monologue. You're not instantly really.
I want to see those videos now. Oh dear. Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I cut that habit after me. So he was like, you're not, you need to actually focus on the task. Don't be like, oh, take the mag out, fix this malfunction. You can't be.
I've done that before though, but talking to myself slows me down.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
It's really bad.
It's just you're taking their mind off the thing and focusing on verbalizing what's going on.
But you still do.
Well, I swear a lot.
I did on that stage. So on the that Virginia count, the 4 and then reload 2 stage. It was so freaking stupid. I pull out the gun and I just I was doing practical accuracy. Honestly, that's what I was doing, and it was going so perfectly. Wham, 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 wham. 5 shots. And then I literally go, gosh. And I was like, nope, don't talk to yourself. Keep going. And I had 2 or 3 Charlies on that stage, and I had 5 alphas on that first target. I was like, I'm an idiot.
No, it happens.
Yeah.
A lot of people did 5. I can't remember who they were shooting with. It was either Steve or Camden, one of those two. The ROs did 5 shots, and Linda made fun of them for doing 5 shots, and she went up there and did 5 shots. And I'm like, karma's very quick. And it really is.
Karma is contagious.
So Tim Proctor on my squad, that speed shoot with the 7 rounds or whatever, he shot the no shoot, and so I was like, damn, bro. And then I go up there and I shoot the no shoot, but I got the alpha with the no shoot. And it really is contagious.
So Mason fell on day 1 of shooting. He fell pretty bad. Yeah.
Where?
It was
when?
Stage 15, so when we had to duck around the backside of the area.
Yeah.
He fell.
Do you have this on video?
Oh yeah, the head cam footage. He fell. The gun was the first thing to make contact with the ground.
The gun broke the fall.
Yeah. Then it malfunctioned because it had But so everyone was making fun of Mason for falling so much because he really does fall a lot. And then Luke fell and absolutely skinned his knee just so bad. Yeah,
it sucks.
It is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I didn't fall, so. Another one under my belt.
There you go.
Okay, we digress. What were we talking about at some point? I know, right? Just went the video stuff. No, I went back and watched my head cam on one of those videos, and I'm now talking to myself again, and I just like kind of gave up. I was like, oh, this is great. And then I really slow, and then that. I'm like, this is the worst. I'm like, I can't post that video. You hear yourself talking more than when you're like third person.
Yeah.
Also, my dumb ass, I forgot to flip it upwards, so there's just me and the gun and no target. So you can't see the swinger. And I crushed those stages. Like, cool, Ken, we've learned.
But the recoil looks so
Looks
good.
so good. Jesus Christ. So that's bad. No, so you guys did decide to create a training company and travel and teach together. So when did you formulate that company and decide to like go in business together and all that?
So I started the company in 2019 in May. Originally, it was just kind of my thing, and Kay had to her own business. That was part of the inspiration for me to do it. But I was still in college at that point, and just getting out of college, I think, and realizing that it would be a good stream of income. Like the part-time job that I had getting through college. Like, okay,
What was a part-time job?
I was cleaning police cars in the local police department. It was amazing.
And he would fix the parking meters.
Yeah, I worked with the parking division. I would clean cars and whatever else.
Those aren't made for winter. I didn't know this either. The batteries in them like die. So it's like a full-time job, just like running fixing those things.
Like your straight face, I'm like, really, this is funny. There's somebody that has to do that. I forget.
Yeah, it was for a while.
Funny.
So I started a company at that point. And it was, I instantly knew that I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I would. I started doing, these kind of individual lessons to people in the area, and then got more and more requests for classes. I'm still working on growing, getting more and more requests for classes, of course, but I'll go just about anywhere people will have us. And now Kay travels to pretty much all the classes with me and helps me teach and stuff.
I love it. So, okay, backing up, your demand came from word of mouth. It wasn't you like putting out like classes. It was like, hey, come here. Like, okay. It wasn't you saying a date and come to you.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's the way classes operate for the most part. It's the same for most instructors. It's someone in an area wants to take a class. They get a hold of me. I say, here's all the stuff you got to have.
Yeah.
And they're responsible for doing all the logistics of getting people together, getting it approved at the club, making sure there's all the requisite materials to make sure the class is going to operate, and then I'll go almost any distance to come put on the class and make sure it goes smoothly.
What's almost any distance?
We're going to Norway next year.
What?
So,
That's awesome.
We'll go pretty much anywhere.
You guys remind me of Max and Linda then.
Yeah.
Team up. Oh yeah. Okay, how cool is that though, working together? And I know like you, oh my gosh, you're wonderful. You see a lot of things that he does, and you can help us in the background. Dry firing a stage was the most weirdest thing I've ever done. That was great in that class.
Yeah.
So how does that feel too, like being in class and like playing off of each other?
I think it was actually kind of funny in the beginning when Mason was doing like individual lessons. I was almost like a translator, like because he was not as good of an instructor as he is now.
Got a lot better.
Yeah.
And he used to like say something and just based on my skill level, and then like I was so much closer to the students level.
Yep.
But I also spent so much time around him that I knew
what he's trying to convey.
What he was trying to convey, but like knew what their skill level was.
Sure.
So in the beginning, I was just like the translator. Like, I think what he's saying is this, and he was like, go back and forth. But he's honestly, he could do it without me at this point. But he can convey information way better. But nowadays, it's more so I can do like the logistics. I can do kind of the background.
The stuff boys don't like to do.
100%. 100%.
General.
I still think people get a lot out of you in class.
I do too.
People. It's the same thing on a lesser degree. I'm not incapable of communicating with people like I used to be. But I do think like having it come from a different perspective, someone that's gone through the issue themselves, if you can provide a unique experience and share that directly.
Yeah.
Where I know where someone is and what they're looking for, and I know what the step in between is, but I don't have the I just went through the 6 months experience to convey that same information the same way.
I think that's like 90% of teaching is just coming up with like obviously the way you say it the first time and like say the demo. Like you might say the thing one or two times, like one or two different ways, to hit on most learners. But obviously then there's so many different ways to like present information to see if, will that click? Will that click?
Yeah.
Will this click? So I think having like two different perspectives, just like coming up with new ways to present the information helps.
Yeah. So what have you guys seen in your students? Like where they were, what have you seen like case studies of improvement?
Well, so the most dramatic case studies are from the private students, just because I get to see them so often.
Yeah.
And I've been with them for the longest. I think I've done, there's been a couple instances where I've taught a class in an area and revisited another year or two later. Then you'll see a lot, in that case, it's a normal distribution. When you get a class of 12 people, comes back as a class of 8 or 8 students, it's going to be a normal distribution of some people, like they have a hard time sort of self-teaching and like taking the instruction. So they kind of get a little bit better, they get a little bit more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Some people get like, a few percent better, and some people excel. Like the class is all they need to like unlock all kinds of potential.
Yeah, right.
And so, that's to be expected. But with the private students, you get to see a really good look inside of what their training is like, how they grow and develop, not just in terms of their ability, but how they think about what they're doing. And that's the coolest thing to see is when you take someone who's like not just B class by ability, but like D class by aptitude, and you're able to like shift the way they think about training and developing, and so they're able to like actually orient themselves and train themselves.
Yeah.
Very cool. I totally agree.
Pretty cool. So switching gears completely, because I just kind of want to know this: have you ever shot other sports other than USPSA, or thought about it?
I have a lot more than you have.
Yeah, I don't.
You shot a little bit of Steel Challenge.
Yeah,
you shot literally one Steel Challenge match, and literally one IDP match actually.
Yeah, I did my first IDPA match this year.
Me too. First and last. I'm done.
So many procedurals for like not cutting the pie
the right target,
and like stupid stuff like that. But it was fun. Yeah,
people trash IDP hard, and because they deserve it. I think there's more value in that from a training perspective than people realize. It used to be like in terms of figuring out awkward leaning positions and stuff like that, they gave you a lot of chances to work on that sort of thing. It required you to be much more diligent in accuracy, which it still does.
Yeah.
Now kind of to a fault. And like the one thing this isn't an endorsement by any means, but one thing I think that people can get out of it is like the procedure as far as even simply how you're going to load and unload your gun on every stage can vary from RO to RO as you go through an IDPA match, because there's so much logistical inefficiency and inconsistency from official to official that it requires you to be way more mentally flexible and honestly durable mentally durable than it does shooting a USPSA match.
That makes sense.
There's no like having a subconscious program and just like, kind of teeing it up, visualizing, and then just letting it run on an IDPA stage or going through an IDPA match.
Right.
You have to be able to basically work through problems consciously and be like, what does this guy want from me? Okay, I guess I'm going to go load the gun now. Okay, I guess now this is completely random activator or somewhere I wasn't expecting. Whatever the case may be, it can be valuable, I feel. I shot a ton of IDPA. I started in IDPA like 2012 or so before I started really taking it seriously.
How old were you in 2012? I
don't know, like 12 or 13 or something like that.
So young.
Yeah.
And that just ended your train of thought.
I've shot a bunch of Steel Challenge and IDPA, more so earlier on. Now I shoot pretty much just USPSA. I've done a little bit of 3-gun and stuff, but I enjoy that about equally as I do.
I shot one 3-gun match.
You did shoot a 3-gun match.
COVID, remember? I shot the 3-gun match.
What'd you like? What'd you like about 3-gun?
I actually enjoy shotgun a lot.
Yes!
I actually enjoy shotgun. I keep saying I want to get into supporting plays.
So USA team World Shotgun Shoot, you want to go?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay.
Where is it?
That's serious. I don't know. It's after Thailand. I'm sure it's back in Thailand. I don't know. That's my dream. That's my goal. We gotta go. I gotta go.
I would do it.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm not good at it though.
Yeah, you are. You just blow things up. It's very easy to train shotgun versus pistol. It's just
you haven't even done enough to know if you're good at it.
Yeah, no, I just have to practice the loads.
That's all dry fire.
Yeah.
It's the IPC shotguns. They have like the choking and like knowing your patterns and stuff is a big deal too.
Yep.
Still set up tight partials like you shoot first shot.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I'm used to in the 3-gun stuff, and that was what I love so much. It's like we got to choose options. That's why I like 3-guns. Like you choose what gun you are really good at or like, and there'd be no shoot and the hit target no shoot, and I know my chokes and everything. It's so much fun. I don't know why, but I love it. I like teaching women to shotgun.
It's so much
better. You have to drive to matches. I'm never gonna fly to a 3-gun match.
Yeah, I've done it twice.
Never.
It's at the 3-gun match that we shot. It was local. and like we were sharing everything but the pistol. And I could not believe the amount of crap I was dragging around. I'm like, oh God, I feel like a Sherpa right now.
Birdshot plugs, rifle, which burner and long range ammo, pistol ammo. Then you got your caddies, you got your mag pouches, your magazines for rifle, for pistol. You got your totes, your rangefinder, your.
You show up with everything all organized, and then it's like one stage everywhere.
I need a wheel vehicle to get your crap around. I'm not interested.
That's I drive up to the bays that I shoot, and I'm like, this is the only way to shoot 3 gun is to be able to drive from bay to bay, drop the tailgate, and all your crap's there. It's very unorganized. Cool. Okay, so other sports. I was curious about that. So for you guys, what is like your goals now, individually, as a couple, whether it's business or shooting? You're on World Shoot Team, right?
Yep.
Are you as well?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? What are you preparing for?
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know I was going till recently.
Okay.
I did all the qualifications, and then recently I got the slot. So I haven't necessarily got to decide what that preparation is going to look like. I know that we shot that Pan Am match, and the swingers, over the top swingers,
anything like that,
ate my lunch. I'll tell you what, it was like absolutely brutal because I would shoot the stage and be like, yeah, it's Alpha Charlie, and get down to the swinger and it'd be like 1 Delta, and I'd be like, oh,
stop, buddy.
So everything I know is a lie. So that is going to be a big practice. We actually just got a swinger.
So funny. It's so painful
to actually shoot in practice. So
that was like Area 8 swingers, the right one, the left one.
Those ate my lunch too. But
experienced that, man.
Yeah, but the ones at Pan Am, it was every other stage. Lightning over the top swinger. And it wasn't like all exposed. It wasn't like, oh, here it is. It's like, no, there's like this much dipstick target.
They were tough enough that the Americans figured it out by the end of the match. Like everyone I talked to, every American I talked to, like they got progressively better at the swingers over the course of the match by figuring out how much they had to leave them based on the distance.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, you had to shoot like off the edge of the tee to land them in the middle of the target.
That's brutal.
They were
that's brutal.
Really difficult. So it's like that. We're gonna have to work on that a lot more.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a little bit of that. We've been watching videos of matches that are at put on in that area.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be just like them putting on that match, but staff is probably going to be largely taken in from that area and putting on the stages. So we've been, reviewing a lot of match video, kind of thinking about stuff like that, seeing, in Thailand, they like the matches are pretty spicy, honestly, like pretty difficult shooting. I would say a lot of partials. So we'll be, once we get back from this match,
it's not going to be all different than how we prepare for any other match. It's just the shot difficulty and like practicing much more demanding technical, shooting. Basically, there's not going to be like a lot of all kinds of soft entries where you're kind of doing a bunch of shooting on the move. It's the shot difficulty will be a lot higher, be a lot more swingers, a lot more really particular positions and stuff like that.
Very dumb. They have a match book. Does the match book stages line up with most?
There's really not. There's not. It's like the week prior.
Yeah, it's brutal. Okay.
I mean, that's part of IPSC too. There's the nature of IPSC. You can't go walk on the stage for more than 5 minutes. So you're required to work with a lot less visualization, repetition to get the same job done.
It's crazy.
I think a couple of Americans will be shooting the pre-match, and they're planning on sending some video
back to y'all.
Yeah, obviously we won't be able to like prepare with it at that point, but it'll be being able to like review the stages and kind of get some visualization maybe.
Are y'all shooting the same division?
No,
I'm shooting broad.
I'll be shooting production optics light.
What does that mean? Why light?
So I wanted to shoot production optics, but we decided to make a team. So to shoot on the team, the other 2 girls are shooting light guns, so I just went with the light gun. So I'll be changing out the X5 grip for the standard.
You're talking lightweight.
Yeah, so it'll be the standard X5 grip as opposed to a
heavy weighted, beautifully balanced.
So,
yes, exactly. No more THC, that face. But
basically, they subdivided that. So it most likely won't be a thing anymore after this World Shoot.
Really?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
There's no one who participates in it outside.
True.
the one.
Yeah.
Basically, the World Shoot would be the only match where they subdivide it that way.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people probably ask you this already, and I don't know if you want to grab it. Do you want to show people the guns that you shoot and what you modified and all that stuff?
Yeah.
You're like,
sure.
it's so far away. But... Okay, so let's talk about limited guns.
Yep.
All right. So you first, because you can start with the little guy.
All right. So this is the gun that I shot and loaded this year. This is assembled pretty similar to how I shot the gun last year. So it's essentially the same exact frame I use in both production and carry optics at the bottom. It's a Sig 320 with the Legion series TXG lower. I've done a silicon carbide grip job on it. It has a Ray Guns trigger, which is pretty nice. Fairly light. It's favorable for shooting quickly. This is a upcoming Ray Guns prototype 40 cal slide. It might not look exactly like this, but it's going to be something pretty much like this. You can see it has a pretty fat barrel on it. It's got some nice sights. It's got a very tightly fitted barrel, which is super accurate, and you can see it has the X5 series rear plate on it. So those aren't necessarily available to order now, but that's kind of what's coming up soon. This is what I shot at the Series Limited Nationals.
How much does that weigh?
A lot. It's probably something like 45 ounces without a mag well. With no mag, I had to guess. It's a little bit heavier than the production gun.
Yeah. Okay.
So I shot this was kind of like the I guess the.
Do you mind if I talk about this?
Yeah, why don't you talk about this?
Because this was my gun also.
Initially,
this is the gun I was going to shoot last year. This is similar to the one that we just talked about. It has a little bit of a fatter barrel in it. It had a barrel that was from a different company. Similarly fitted very tight. It's 5 inches. It's got an aftermarket slide, and you can see it has a bunch of really fancy cuts in it, so the mass is distributed a little bit differently.
Can you talk a little bit faster?
Yeah, I'd love to. The trigger is also the trigger itself says the Ray Guns trigger. The frame is pretty much identical to the other one. This slide was on a gun that took a different magazine, also a 40 cal gun. And that's all we'll say about that. But this is sort of the previous generation's prototype limited gun.
Just as heavy?
Just as heavy. It's actually a little bit heavier. The barrel is a little bit fatter, and it shoots. Sort of feels a little bit slower than this one does. I came to prefer this one a little bit after doing some shooting on both of them, so I took the one I like better.
So you just showing the free to the free?
Yeah, sure. So here's the coolest thing about the 320. Most people are initiated, right? You literally flip the takedown lever, pop the slide off, and you can throw any other slide back on it. So this is the slide that I won for 2 limited nationals with in 2020 and 2021. This one has a little bit of a shorter barrel. It is, for the most part, internally, it's a factory Sig 40 cal slide. You can see it has those very nice cuts, very nice sights, and a very nice tight fitted factory barrel in there. Similarly, from Ray Guns, modern classic 4.7 inch slide.
And then for production.
Yeah.
So Mason's going pretty stock on the slide for production, but I have the Ray Guns Modern Classic 5-inch production slide. So it's pretty sweet. It's got some nice cuts. It's a little heavier. It feels freaking awesome. So.
Yes, so the modern classic slides are mass balanced quite a bit differently than the factory slides. They cycle a little bit slower, a little bit more forgiving, and they're aesthetically, as you can see, a little bit different. Because I'm shooting production at the World Shoot, I decided to choose the factory slide. So it's the same gun from here down, and it's factory X5 Legion slide from there up. Factory sites and the whole works.
Cool. So, what's your take on like minor, major power factor? Do you think it still matters? And
it absolutely matters.
Absolutely.
This is something people are going to continue to talk about forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nils did what is not impossible, clearly, but very, very difficult to do in winning a match that is very advantageous to shoot major while shooting.
I remember your speech last year. Thank you, Nils, for shooting minor power factor.
That's the first thing I said.
The very first sentence.
He's an exceptionally talented. He's probably, certainly, arguably, if not definitely, the best iron sight shooter at a minimum in America.
I agree.
And that's why he won. It has nothing to do with minor advantage. That's not big on his gun. It's not big on anything about him. It's his ability that won in that. It's certainly not. There's no advantage in what he did. He would have won by a lot more.
Yeah. Would you like to see 40 disappear though?
I mean, that's, obviously its utility is limited pretty much exclusively to that one division at one point.
Yeah.
From a sportsman's competitive perspective, I actually like shooting a 40 caliber gun that's like boxed a little bit more. It's a little bit hard to hang on to. I think it provides an interesting challenge for the shooter. But based on what we know about handgun technology now, it doesn't actually make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that I understand why people just want to see it go away.
Yeah.
But
I think I don't care if 40 goes away, but I like the scoring challenges of minor versus major. Like I like that there's a like, you know, there's one version of the division, like okay, for dots there's carry optics and that's minor, and then there's like almost like the grown up, or like it's not that it's grown up, but it's open. You know, then you've got major and all those extras, and the same thing with production. Then you have grown up limited with 40 cal and major and everything. So I think the scoring challenge is cool. I would want to see the major minor
go away,
scoring go away, but I don't really care about 40 cal.
Yeah,
but
I was curious. So is there another division you want to shoot outside of carry optics and iron sight stuff?
I love open.
Yeah,
I would love to shoot open. I have a checkmate and I love my checkmate, but it made sense for me to stay iron sights for these two divisions, and I obviously like my SIGs, but I want to shoot open next year.
Okay,
so.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. Let's do open. Let's do shotgun. How about
Let's
that?
do it. Yeah,
that's my plan.
You sit out your people, talk to my people, and we'll get our schedules.
You can train me on open. I can train you on shotgun.
Yeah, no, 100%. We'll do some training days.
That'd be awesome.
I love open though. I think it's very fun.
Yeah. One match and I'm completely addicted. Like, holy cow. It's just so fun.
It is very fun.
Which gun did you shoot for that? Did you shoot the one with the comp?
Yeah, the Masterpiece Arms brand new comp gun. They redid the design. I don't know if you heard a little bit about it, but they did an extra popple hole. They had a full like comp on the end that was just like squared off basically with the slide. So they took some material off to like balance it a little bit better. So the weight's awesome.
Cool.
Oh my god, it was fun.
Yeah.
I shot open last year, and I had just because it was I think it was the second match last year or something.
Yes.
So I was
open
able,
PCC.
Yeah,
so,
something
maybe.
like that. So I was able, or open and limited were the second matches, I think. Yeah, it was because it was CO and then open and limited.
Okay.
So anyway, last year I shot open because I was like, oh, it'll just be the fun division. Like I haven't got to do any training on this. This will just be fun. And I had so much fun.
Yep. You mean you didn't want to? Oh, that's gone now. What do you think of this match now that we're about to go with PCC and production? Like, is that going to be interesting?
I'm terrified.
We practiced for distance, knowing we saw that PCC crowd were paired up and knew that the shot difficulty challenge was probably going to be there. And knowing they don't have all kinds of time to change things around, we figured it'd probably be the same way for the match. I mean, we're prepared for it, but we're expecting it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Right.
I don't mind the distance. I just don't like the distance when
I'm
limited on rounds with iron sights.
It's going to be brutal.
That's pretty brutal.
I'm betting it's going to be brutal.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. You can switch PCC. I have extras. No. All right, guys. Well, what else is going on that we haven't talked about? Anything that I haven't covered, whether it's life, training, balance of life? You know if that exists. Homesteading.
It's a huge part of our
Homesteading, yeah. My chickens are almost permanent.
Jay got some chickens that she reared from chicks.
Yeah, baby chickens.
They're cute.
They're so cute.
They're very cute.
I'm about to find out my 3 that I hatched out. I don't know if they're roosters or hens, so
the gender reveal.
They're at the gender reveal age. They're 6 to 8 weeks old, so it could be sad.
Oh, real quick, do y'all want to talk about your travel adventures? Along the road, flying, all sorts of stuff. Hope y'all enjoyed navigating those in this house that we can't say the real name of.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to give y'all a tour or nothing.
Our house.
This house that we've rented here.
It's camping. That's what I've determined.
It's basically camping indoors.
There's wildlife.
So there's that. And you guys lived in a airport for 3 days, right?
No, that was 2 days. Going to the Czech Republic. This year. We've not had a huge amount of luck this year.
We've had more bad.
Yeah. Which I think everybody has, really, with the flight cancellation and everything. But
you haven't seen my stories?
Yeah.
Yay, guys.
Going to the Czech Republic this year, we had some difficulties where Air France decided to not let us take guns on the plane, and we experienced a very rude French woman who was not going to help us, even when others tried to help us. So we ended up having to spend the night at the Boston airport, which, you know,
luckily is pretty much home.
Yeah, it's pretty much home. It's only an hour and a half from home. But poor Casey Reed had this. Air France stole his bag and like wouldn't give it back.
What?
It was the same French woman.
How's that legal?
I think she thought that it had guns in it, but she didn't realize the gun bag was the one that he had.
Just everything he wanted to spend the night in the hotel.
I love it. Yeah.
So they like stole it from him until like 4 a.m. the next morning. He spent the whole night trying to get his bag, like going back and forth. And like, if anybody's flown through Boston, I don't know if you have. But anyway, Boston has like an A terminal and A through E terminal. But there's a bridge that connects A and E, and you have Delta and then Delta International. And this is like a 2-mile walk. I'm not kidding you. And poor Casey did that walk like 10 times.
Yeah, something like 10.
We did it like 6 times.
Why?
Because of his bag.
He just reached the point of frustration, and then he's like, all right, so we go back to the hotel, mile walk. Yeah, I'm going to take out my bag, mile walk. Just rinse and repeat for like a dozen times.
So bad.
But okay, we're laughing about it now. It's not fun then. And it's hard to complain about doing something we love and like are passionate about. However, there's a very unglamorous side to shooting that nobody sees. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And in that situation, that was 100% it. We got to the match luckily a day late. But it definitely showed in our performances that year because we were not rested. And you're dealing with the time change in Czech, so we thought we got there. We weren't even able, like, not that you can walk stages in IPSC, but you usually get you get to acclimate. You walk on the range, you do gear check, right? You know, and kind of see stuff.
Get familiar.
You can kind of see from the back, kind of get ideas. We didn't get to do any of that, and by the time we finally, so we got in the night prior to the match. We're shooting the next morning. Morning is actually like nighttime at home.
Yep.
So you sleep like crap because you're, you know, all pumped up on, you know, energy drinks, trying to make it through like this flight and everything.
Trying to make that 3-hour drive happen from
Prague to the range. It was a 3-hour drive. We were so tired, and we shot. And I remember just feeling like I just kept drinking energy drinks and just feeling more anxious and not any less tired.
That was me Sunday.
Yeah.
That was me Sunday. I didn't feel good and like came in sick, and it was like the last day. Remember, I did a whole energy drink, and then I laid on the cart and I fell asleep for 20 minutes waiting on the spot ahead of us to shoot. And I woke up and was like, maybe I shouldn't be shooting.
Yeah. And honestly too, like even food, because we don't had airport food. Honestly, beer.
I mean, what do you do?
We got into the Delta Sky Lounge, and it's like
we still have the Boston story.
Oh, the Boston dogs. Okay, this is awesome.
We haven't even talked about boneyard stuff either. So,
so us and Casey go to this Boston Bruins bar in the Boston airport, which is awesome. We've actually gone there a lot of times. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a
repeat customers.
Pretty quality. So we go there and we order we both order sandwiches. Like, I got this, it was a very good sandwich. He gets a very good sandwich.
Sandwich or something like that.
Casey orders these Boston dogs, and it says they say, do you want a Boston style? And he's like, yeah. And the
description was outlandish. It was like the most
brioche bun.
It was like a paragraph of script.
Half pound. You know,
don't they do cucumbers, pickles, onions, like all this stuff?
The details don't matter.
Okay.
The point is they really sold the hell out of this hot dog.
Like they sound, and it's $14 for like hot dogs. Like but literally they sounded incredible. They come out. Our sandwiches come out perfect. This girl next to Casey gets like a half-pound burger right next to him, and Casey gets these 2 like Frank's hot dogs.
It was like a steamed hot dog on like a raw
bun. And bun. It was pieces of bread. Like literally.
Casey.
Relish and mustard.
That's it. Bullshit.
And for a second, like Casey's just trying to eat it, like not acknowledge. And I look over at him like, oh wow, Those hot dogs are pretty underwhelming. I like a spit take. Like, I was trying to ignore it. I'm trying to just eat it and like pretend it was good. Yeah, you're right. You're bad.
And the whole time he eats his hot dogs, and then he's like sitting there hungry. And still, he's just staring at the girl next to him, just putting down his half-pound burger.
I ended up being the toad the whole trip.
Oh, yeah.
Funny.
Every time like something happened, it was just
Funny.
like, yeah, we just got Boston dogged.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think that's a good story to show behind the scenes though, for sure.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
we had a flat tire.
I saw all
Yeah.
of the
we had a
shit
flat
show.
tire on the way back to the airport.
And Prague.
He had a curb in Prague. No, till the next day we're like
So
driving.
it's his fault.
I mean, kind of.
It's his fault. There was a pause.
Like 15 inches wide.
Yeah.
So all of that though to say that the people that you travel with matter, because were you guys angry, funny,
Oh,
delirious?
I mean, we were like, we
then?
do not want to miss this flight.
Right.
yeah.
But we weren't mad at him. It was just like, we do not want to miss this flight. Like, we pulled together. Like, we're driving down the road, and this wheel is just getting louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
Over the cobblestones. And like finally, like we come to like a stoplight. In case he's like, we're gonna need to check that tire. I'm out, and this thing looked like he put a grenade inside it.
Stabbed it.
It looked like he put a grenade inside it. It's like you could read a newspaper inside of this tire. It was so shredded. And we were like, we're gonna have to just like ride on the rim to get to a gas station and change it.
I did too.
And that's exactly what we did.
Holy
We
cow.
got pulled into a gas station. We pull in, and we're like, we're going to change this tire. And we can't find a tire iron. And we spare a tire, but we can't find a tire iron. So we go inside. And I asked the guy at the station, the counter, I'm like, hey, can I buy a tire? And do you have a tire with a flat tire? And he, open mouth, laughed at me.
Like no.
Is that a yes or a no? They had a tire iron. We walked around and found it, but he just like was intent on it.
Did you buy it?
Yeah, we had to.
Did you return it like John wanted to do with the hammer?
No.
I mean, you should have. Okay.
But we got the tire changed in like, it was like 12 minutes.
That's impressive. It's a pit crew though. You had 3 people. You got to go.
I was like pumping up the car.
Yes.
It's like, but honestly, God, it really does make a difference who you're
For
driving.
sure, because it can be fucking miserable.
We had
Use
like,
the language, or it could be awesome.
Give you bad.
in Boston initially, we were all pretty depressed, but after that point, it just became fun.
It's just funny. It's like, this is real.
Every moment that just went wrong, because so much went
Boston
wrong.
dog.
Boston dog.
We got Boston dog. So much bad trip, like every way imaginable. We've almost missed that flight.
You got to make the most of it.
Yeah, 100%. But it was funny.
Oh yeah.
Scootering around Prague was the best part of that. Best part of that whole trip. It was good.
So, okay, I want to go into non-glamorous. That gave me another idea. Social media. That's a big part of our industry, even though, like, there's really a lot of blocks on our stuff, you know, a lot of censorship. Do you think it's valuable still? And do you think it's, like, kind of a necessary evil for us to keep posting?
I mean, we're both, like, not really big social media people.
Yeah.
But we
I don't
should
really
be.
care about
You
it.
have
Like,
to.
I feel guilty that I don't do more because I know it would be better for my business if I did.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm awful.
Yep.
I mean, I'm terrible at it. Like, I never think to take pictures of the crap that I'm doing while I'm doing it. And then even
Don't
when
worry, I got some of this.
Yeah, thank God. See if it was up to me. I mean, we just never, like, we're not good about
Yeah.
take pictures and stuff we do while we do it. Today, we actually went up to Nashville between matches here. We our buddy Steven.
Good content.
Yeah, he has a plane, and we flew up there. We had a night of shenanigans last night. We hung out today and got to see some of the sights. Then we came back, and I felt like such a dweeb, and like, oh, plane. Like, we're about to get
That's
a
cool.
private plane to go, like,
It's
fly
really
back
cool.
home. It's like one of the cooler things you can do, but like, I feel
Right.
like such a schmuck taking a picture of this to post it.
I think it's neat. I think it's different experiences, though. And our friends in the industry, I think that actually was helpful to see that there are different people in our industry that own guns, right?
Yeah.
They're pilots or doctors or lawyers or garbage men, they're whatever. And I think that was really cool to see that there is such a dynamic background that you can't really look at somebody and judge them or know or
That's
assume.
one thing I really like about Ryan's podcast.
Yeah.
You find out, you know, I mean, behind the scenes about people that you would never think they did X, Y, and
Did you
Z.
listen to like Marco Davis's podcast?
Yeah.
That was the one that stood out to me the most.
We listened to Trevor. I might think if we listened to
Trayvon.
Trevor's. No, we listened to
Trevor
Trevor's.
Cox. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, but that
looks so
is-
similar. It's got
it just gets progressively worse as we drink coffee. Okay, last bit of things too. With everything in our Second Amendment too, and God, everything's changing in our industry. Like I said, censorship and all that. What do you guys think is like the most important thing for 2A supporters, people that carry guns, like to do on a daily basis?
I mean, like if you're talking about in terms of the longevity of the Second Amendment, like just you have to be open about telling people what you do, and explain in the most compassionate way possible why it's important to you, but also be unapologetic about why you are the way you are. Like I know it's a good exercise for us because Kay's a farrier, like we mentioned before, and there's horses like firearms are kind of they don't really follow any one. It's not a predictor of where someone lies politically or ethically, you could say. And so we interact with a lot of people that are, Second Amendment ambivalent or even aggressive. And, we have to basically state our piece. And it's like, we're not going to be unauthentic about what we do. We're interacting with people just because they're a client. And I think for the most part, we have clientele, not to overstate my role, that appreciates and respects that we're passionate about it. We're going to tell them even if we think they're wrong. And I think that's the most important thing people can do for the most part.
Honestly, it's one of those things where I think people are, it's not like people are going to want to go out shooting with me, but I think that everybody gets a vision in their head of what somebody is like say that crazy anti-gun person. We have a vision in our head of what they're like, and it's like, everybody's a product of their own experiences and
upbringing,
100%,
parenting,
and them putting a face maybe to who you are and seeing like, oh, I'm not just some crazy, 2A person that's, a nut job. It's like, I like shooting and I believe in our rights. And I think, and it's the same way with them,
Absolutely.
Me seeing, okay, they're anti-gun, but then, you meet in the middle.
You're never going to meet someone who just patently doesn't like guns, who doesn't believe in self-defense and like convert them into like a gun-toting person who's like, but you can at least make them understand why you want to.
Yeah, and sometimes unfortunately, we talked about this. Another friend of mine it takes an incident sometimes for them to change their minds.
100%.
And that's it.
That's a little on case. That's just how it is. People that have never been responsible for their own safety. That's just kind of how they feel about it. And like I understand and respect that position. Even if it's I don't agree with it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we did go on longer, but is there anything else?
No. If you're in the Pembroke area in New Hampshire, contact Kay the Prairie. If you're in the globe, contact me for training.
What's your website?
My website doesn't really function. Just email me at masonlane@lsat@gmail.com. Or get a hold of me at basically any social media.
I was gonna say, what are y'all social media handles so people can follow you on there?
Mason Lane Shooting, Facebook, Instagram.
And mine is Kaylee Lane Shooting, and then I just have a Kaylee Lane Facebook. I don't have a pro Facebook. I don't know.
Do y'all want to leave a little boneyard sign off or anything here?
I can't boneyard that. It's full.
This is Clay.
I love it. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I know this will come out, and we'll see what happens at Production Nationals, but good luck, guys. I'm excited.
Thank you for having us.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Tune in next week for the next episode of the Reticle Up Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3 Gun Kenzie.